Welcome to Bears Talk Live with Greg Gabriel, where he brings over 30 years of scouting experience to Swift Sports and the best fans in the business. Hit the like button and hype up this video to support the channel, and let's talk Bears football. Training camp is back. Greg, welcome to Swift Sports, presented by Prize Picks. Everyone, let me know in the chat how you're feeling. Greg, how you feeling today, my man?
I'm still sore from standing up for 2 hours.
Oh man, no, I get it. It's training camp has always been an experience, but when you compare the Bourbonnais experience to what you get at Hallis Hall now,
oh, it's not close, and I get why they do it, but right, it isn't, and you know they could probably seat 1,500. And so everybody else has got to stand. And we had a good spot to stand when you and I were there. But the problem is when they're doing 11 on 11, the offensive players who weren't playing were standing right in front of us.
Yeah.
Where, you know, if they had moved over a little bit, we would have had a greater view.
And there's plenty of space for them to move over and stand in front of the building there.
I know.
They don't seem to really cater this training camp experience to the fans as much as it was in Bourbonnais, where you could move literally all around all of the fields and see whatever you wanted. If you wanted to watch special teams up close and they were on the field farthest away from you, you could go right over there and watch them. If you wanted to watch,
no problem. There was 4 fields at Bourbonnais, and in any one practice we used 3, and you know, with some of it was just individual drills or whatever. Team was always set for one specific field per practice because of the way they had the cameras set up, and they want to tape it, and they've got that fixed now, so those cameras are up there permanently, and so or at least for the whole camp time, and so it just makes it's easier for them. It's harder for the fans. If you don't get a seat, if you don't get there early enough to get a seat, you don't see that well as far as what the hell's going on. But hey, it is what it is. And it was fun going.
Even if you get there early, you're not guaranteed a seat. I mean,
I know. Really we should have got there 45 minutes earlier.
Yeah, but it's still always fun to go to training camp, to watch practice, to see what these guys are up to. I want to talk about a couple of the biggest stories right now. One of the main ones I wanted to discuss with you is Jordan Vandenberg and his breakout at camp. He actually got some reps with the first team the other day. He's looked really good. I saw him. It was right after Greg left. It was when he body slammed the Vanilla Gorilla on the ground, and they kind of got into it a little bit. But what are your thoughts on Jordan Vandenberg? Do you want to remind people? I know I believe you liked him coming out of the draft.
No, I did. I liked him a lot. I thought he was raw, and he is. There's people saying that he's going to start. I don't believe that. I believe he's going to be in the rotation.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, because if you're in the rotation, you're playing anywhere from 30 to 50% of the downs. If you're not the starter, and it could be an equal rotation. It depends on how they use the personnel once the season starts, and with Dial coming inside on a lot of passing downs, could that mean that they only activate 3 true tackles on game day instead of 4? And so, because last year they were playing with 8 defensive linemen on the active roster for Sunday, and so you had a complete rotation at both end and tackle. But now I'm saying, if Deo is playing inside on pass downs, do they need a 4th tackle? That remains to be seen. I don't think we're going to get the answer to that until the season starts.
Yeah, I would imagine they do, simply because we know Dennis Allen loves rotating guys so much. And right now, the one position we might have the most depth at is defensive tackle. It's not just Jordan Vandenberg that we've seen get reps with the first team. Kentavious Street, Neville Gallimore, and like you said, Dio Odangbo's moving inside as well. So there's 6 guys getting first team reps at that position in the interior. And Shamar,
which they're going to do they're going to do that during camp. It's the same thing like at left tackle. They got 3 different guys taking reps at the starting left tackle spot.
Mm-hmm. And that was what I wanted to talk about next, actually, was the left tackle situation. It seemed like Braxton was pulling ahead because we had the rotation the first week, but then pads came on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. All 3 of those practices, it was Braxton Jones getting the first team reps until he then got injured in the Thursday practice, and then it was Jedrick Wills Jr. and Karan Amagaji rotating.
Actually, more Karan Amagaji than Jedrick. And I was wondering. Yeah. So I see the number of reps that Karan has got. I'm wondering if they like what they see, or it's just the way that, because they usually set this stuff up pre-practice, how many reps each guy's going to get. So whether it was pre-planned or what, I don't know the answer to that. You got to see how it plays out once the games start next week. First game week from tomorrow. We'll find out a little, not much, because I don't think you'll see the starters very much except Braxton.
If he's healthy, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other guys, I don't think you'll see much of it all. The other thing, too, that I want to bring up, it seems like Bradbury's got a lock on the starting center job, and I felt that was going to be the case all along. And it's not because physically Logan Jones he could actually be a little better from a physical standpoint, but it's not the mental. And at that position in this offense, you got to know what the hell you're doing, because you're like the orchestra conductor, and you got to take care of all 5 guys along the offensive line and help the quarterback out. And to lay that all on a rookie, not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and you said it. I think he's actually lost some reps inside, especially to the guy we just talked about, Jordan Vandenberg. In the one-on-ones, Vandenberg killed him. I'm still really high on Logan Jones. I know in today's social media era where people they have the short memory, and if a rookie isn't dominating in the first week or 2 of camp, they call him a bust. I've already heard that talk on Dylan Thieneman, and here's my thoughts on Thieneman really quick. He's been in training camp for 1 week, and he's already established himself as a starting safety. I think he's playing the run well. He's coming up. You don't really see guys, you're not going to see media guys being like, oh, Dylan Thieneman came up and filled that gap correctly in the run game. They don't look at that. It's not something they really look for. What they look for, if they mention a defensive guy, it's because he got an interception or a sack. And so far, Thieneman hasn't done that. He's been good in coverage, good against the run. He did get beat by Luther Burden in Thursday's practice, but it was one of the filthiest routes I've seen in camp. Luther is almost unstoppable, and that same route is going to beat veteran safeties as well. But I'm really high on Thieneman. I think he's going to be really good in that secondary. Do you have any thoughts on him right now?
You know what it is? If you don't hear about him, they're doing a good job.
Exactly. That's what defensive backs are. If you're getting cooked every day, you're
you're darn right. Then the media is going to see it, that this guy. But they're not even right all the time. Like there was a rep, the long pass to 14 last week. And so everybody said it was Tyreek got beat. It wasn't Tyreek.
Yeah,
he was playing from the slot, and Tyreek doesn't even cover guys in the slot.
That's a lot of times you get bad information from them. Yeah,
so I just let that stuff go, because it's there's guys going to make mistakes in coverage. They're going to look sloppy. They might slip. They might do. It's practice. Practice makes perfect. The idea of practice is to get ready for the regular season. And if you make a bad play the 3rd day of camp, is that going to hurt your chances of making the team? No. Because when you go into camp, the coaches in the front office already have a preconceived notion of who the 53 is going to be.
Yep.
And so then it's somebody's got to jump up. Somebody's got to jump up and take it from one of those other guys.
Yep. And to go with kind of what I was talking about there when it comes to defensive backs in training camp. I wanted to cover another narrative that seems to be going around here. Is I saw it yesterday a lot. Was that Jalen Johnson is having a terrible camp, and here's why. There were two clips posted because you haven't heard much about Jalen Johnson.
Yeah,
Why?
that means
Because
he's having a good camp.
exactly. But the two clips that were posted, and this is why I want to get your thoughts on it. You got way more NFL experience than all of us combined, but the two clips that were posted were
I know the one.
one-on-one drills, no pass rush, designed for the offense to win. And people were like, "Oh, JJ's getting cooked." It was a six. I counted the one, the Khalif Raymond one. It was a 6-second route. Now, Caleb does have times where he can buy that much time in the pocket, but never are you just going to stand in the pocket for 6 seconds. No pass rush, no safety help, one-on-one the whole way. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I believe JJ is having
there
a
was
great camp.
a post by John Frashella, who's out in New York,
Okay, I
and
know him.
he has the video of it, and I know John, and he's going, Jalen Johnson doesn't look very good, and I just said, John, shut the fuck up. Sorry, I go, Jalen is a 4.48 guy. The guy who went against is a 4.36 guy on a fly route in one-on-ones. Big deal.
Where he did like two double moves as well. He was like, he tried to sell it inside, then he cut it back out, and it was like, that just doesn't happen in the NFL. Someone just said Jalen doesn't guard man, he's a zone guy. I disagree with that. Jalen is at his best, in my opinion, when he's able to come up, press coverage, and guard a guy one-on-one. He's actually really good at it and has done a really good job in most of the one-on-ones I've seen. But
you know, I had an interesting conversation yesterday with John Hoke. He's here twice. He was defensive back coach for Lovey for a number of years, and he was defensive back coach for Flus. And and the reason I called him, I was doing this DB, and I'd seen the coverage a lot in college, never seen it in the pros, where the corner, he might be, when the defense is going left to right, the corner may be the left corner. But when the flip sides of the field, instead of him being on the near side, he's still on the far side. So he's the left corner, and then he's the right corner. And I said, why they do that? And so then we started going through plays. Now, he doesn't have the tape. I got the tape. He goes, get some press plays. So I get some press plays. He goes, what do his feet look like? You know, how's he have his feet aligned? And does he have the outside foot front or the outside foot back? And we're going back and forth. And like I say, I've seen it in college probably this spring alone, probably a half a dozen times. And I told John, and he knows Ballard real well. So I said, I called Ballard and I said, Chris, I've never seen this is the first time I saw it. I said, I'm seeing it. And he goes, the only thing I can come up with, and then John agreed, is the guy who's playing to the home team or their team's sideline is dumb. And so they want to make sure he's always on that side. So and the other guy, they can help him make corrections. And John said, you know, that makes a lot of sense.
Man, yeah, that's one I don't know if I've ever heard of, but love to see that. But yeah, I think the one thing to take away from that, guys, don't worry about DBs and one-on-one drills. It's designed for the offense, the success, and it's honestly more for the fans than it is player development, in my opinion. But
the other thing that John, I wanted to bring up, John.
Yeah,
what they did a bunch with Flus, and I really wasn't paying that close attention to see it. They were like in college, you see a lot of boundary and field corners.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, they were doing that with Flus a lot. He said, because Jalen was best as the field, not the boundary. And I said, well, why is that? He said, because most of your runs go into the boundary side, and he isn't a great run stopping corner. He's okay, but not great.
Yeah, I like that. Next up, I wanted to correct another narrative that I've seen going around here. and it has to do with the injured players at training camp, specifically Kyler Gordon, but other guys like Shamar Turner as well. I saw a couple people yesterday saying that Gordon was MIA. I think fans, this is something I wanted to tell fans why we had the chance and then let you tell them exactly what happens there because you know more than I do. But Kyler Gordon is at Hallis Hall, guys. He's not skipping training camp. He's not missing. He's just not outside at practice. He's in the training room working on recovery. And according to Ryan Poles, he's been there since OTAs back in June. So he's there every day. Kyler Gordon is there. And then yesterday was the first time we saw Kyler or Shamar Turner at practice. Both of them came out towards the end of practice. We're working with the training staff, and Kyler Gordon spent some time catching balls on the jugs machine and then did some autographs afterwards. But can you clear that up to people out there that where injured players are during camp and why they're not out on the practice field?
It depends where, who the head coach is and how he wants the injured players hurt. We had a guy when I was with the Giants, and I can't think of Jimmy's last name. He was the therapist trainer, and his job was to take care of the walking wounded, so to speak, during practice, and he'd work the hell out of them. And it was like you didn't want to be with Madalino was his last name. You didn't want to be with Madalino because Madalino would work you harder than you'd ever work in practice. And we had tough practices with ourselves. He would work the hell out of those guys for about an hour and 10 minutes, as part of their rehab process. The Bears, what they've done, and they've done this since they've done the addition at Hallis Hall, they've got it a little bit of an indoor field inside there where guys can do stuff. And they have them do all the rehab in there and all the movement stuff in there. So they're actually away from the media, away from the fans. Nobody sees what they're doing. And it's for privacy more than anything else. But the fact that they start bringing Kyler out and Shamar out, that tells me they're closer to being ready to go. And
that's
so
exactly how I feel. Yeah.
And now some people misunderstood Kyler. Kyler said something like next week.
Yeah.
And what he was referring to was the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. I misheard it at first too, because the beginning of it's kind of cut off. It sounds like what I thought I heard the first time was when are we going to see Spidey? Like, when is Spidey going to be back out there? But he was asking him, when are you going to see the new Spider-Man movie, which is out in theaters?
He said probably next week.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be a bit surprised if you start seeing him next week, at least do individual and stuff. But we got to wait and see. And the same with Shamar Turner. So I went back and I looked at the date Shamar got hurt. He's 9.5 months out on an ACL.
Torn ACL, yeah.
Okay, so he's just about at the time when you're ready to. I mean, he's been doing running and all that stuff, but you're ready to hit contact. So it's 9.5 to 10 months. So I would say anytime within the next 2 weeks, he should get cleared for contact.
I'd love to see
based on that timeline.
And I agree with you. I think usually from what we've seen in the past, we only have 1 year with Ben Johnson. But when the guys come out and start working on the sideline with the trainers, we saw it last year, a couple of guys, when they came back and were working with the trainers on the sideline, it was usually a few days or a week or so before they got back out on the practice field. So I think Kyler and Shamar Turner being spotted at practice yesterday was a good sign. It is possible. I mean, you can't guarantee it. Maybe they just wanted them to get out there and see the fans and show them at practice. But I believe both those guys should be back soon, because it's not like Ozzy Trapillo came out there. So, and we know he's not coming back soon. So hopefully, fingers are crossed, we will see Gordon soon. And I did have a question about Kyler.
Well, the other thing too, Swifty, is that yesterday's practice, I believe, was on the near fields. So Hallis Hall's right there.
Yeah.
And so you come out and you're there. Where the other one, you got a damn half-mile walk over to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not going to be over there, but they're going to be on the near field.
So that answers the question that this guy asked about, has Shamar Turner taken the field? But my man Bills here, he says, if Kyler Gordon is to miss regular season games, who's most likely to start in his place? First, I'm going to say, I don't think we're to that point yet. I think Kyler has plenty of time now still to get back on the field and start week 1. And I believe the coaching staff's goal for him right now is to not overwork him in camp or preseason. They want him healthy for week 1. So my opinion is it's going to be Kyler. If it's not Kyler, most likely I think it's going to be Jalen Jones.
I would say right now you're correct. I would have thought it would have been Owens, but he's playing safety now.
Too. Yeah, and he's playing safety. Yeah. Oh, Cam Lewis too. Yeah.
Not Owens. I mean Lewis. Excuse me.
Yeah, you meant Cam Lewis. Yeah,
I'm not Cam Lewis, but he's playing safety now with Kobe out.
Starting safety. Yeah.
So, because he's been a starting nickel in the league. And he's tough enough to do it. You got to have some unique to play the nickel. You got to have some unique traits. You got to have some badass to you. You got to be able to play the run. You got to be a tackler. You got to be a tough guy. You got to be able to take on blocks, and you're asked to do a lot of different stuff in coverage where your outside guys may be playing predominantly man coverage because he's an inside guy, and with the linebackers often. He's got to be able to do man and zone. And there's a lot of times when he's going to be asked to do some zone type concepts where the other guys might be playing man. And so, you got to be smart. You got to be aware, and you can't have a dumb guy out there. It's got to be somebody that really knows what he's doing and confident of what he's doing. And he's got to be a legitimate tough guy.
Yeah. Someone said, who is this Owens guy? He meant Cam Lewis.
And not Cam Lewis, yeah.
A safety, Javarius Owens, but he got hurt.
He got dinged up the other day too.
I think he got carted off the field. So
yesterday, 2 guys got hurt. 2 DBs got hurt. They're off today. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they end up signing a couple of guys today.
Yeah, I could see that, especially and now J2K did bring up Malik Muhammad, and I wanted to quickly touch on why I didn't name him as the guy, because I like Malik Muhammad, but he played all outside at Texas. He was an outside corner, a press guy, and he is getting slots at nickel now, but he's behind Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell. And from what I've seen, he's a guy who's still learning the position and has a lot to learn still. So I would place Jalen Jones and Blackwell both ahead of him right now, even though Muhammad is a guy who I believe could get there, and I do believe he's going to be a starting corner in the NFL. But right now, there's a lot on his plate. They have him learning all 3 corner positions. And like you said, nickel is probably the hardest spot on the entire defense to play. That's why I believe Kyler is so valuable. And a lot of people are down on Kyler. I'm really rooting for him to be back week 1 and have a big year because, to me, he's one of the best nickel corners in all football.
Yeah, I in all honesty, Swifty, I'm not that worried about it. I'm not. I'm going to go back. And this is going, I can go back 40 years, but the way when I started out in the league, and this went, all through the 80s and into the 90s, before they did a collective bargaining agreement that basically did away with holdouts, we'd have at the beginning of camp every year, not only would we have some rookie holdouts, remember in 2005, we had said holding out until the last preseason game. Okay,
that hurt the start of his career, if you ask me. Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. But before that, you used to have veterans all the time, and you might have 10, even a dozen veterans holding out. A lot of them, they know they're going to get the deal done. They know the deal that's on the table they're going to take. They want to miss camp, and don't forget we were doing double sessions then.
Yeah,
and double sessions were every day. It was very, very physical camps. They're like, hey,
I really like the 2-a-days. As a fan, here's what
I get it.
I would always go to the 2-a-days. You go to the morning one, you go get some lunch, some Italian beef, you come back, you watch another practice, made for an awesome day, but they don't do that anymore. I wish.
But a veteran who's, probably the only time that he's going to be, there's one contract up, he's going to sign another contract. His only opportunity to miss part of camp. And if you ask him after the fact, they'll go, hey, I knew when I was coming in, I wasn't coming. And when I started off in the league, we were playing 6 preseason games. Then I went to 4.
Oh, my goodness.
And so when we were playing 6, they wouldn't come in until after 3. You knew at 3, you were going to get a bunch of guys coming back into camp. And then it was after 2 games. So they were there for 2. And the coaches know, to fit in one guy who's a starter, they need 2 weeks of camp. It's about all they need. If in fact they're taking care of themselves while they're holding out. But it's one person, not a team. So it's my experience with it and seeing how these things work. A guy can be Kyler Gordon can miss another 2 weeks and still be good to go.
Yeah. So I do got to comment on this one. I saw this stat yesterday, and I don't want to spend too much time defending Kyler. He's going to do that with his play. But people seem to be wrong about how many games he's missed. My man Jason in the chat says he's missed 29 career games. That's false. He had missed 9 total games in the first 3 years of his career. 9 games. Now, he missed 14 last year. That puts him at about 23 games that he's missed. But this 29, what people are doing here, and I want to correct this because I had to talk to someone on Twitter about it yesterday. When you go to or Pro Football Reference website and you pull up Kyler Gordon's stats, it shows that he only started 1 game last year. And it shows that he only started 7 in 2023. The problem with that is as a nickelback, they count the start as who's on the field for the first play of the game. So when you look at 2023, it says he started 7 games and played 13. But when you look at the 6 games that he didn't start, he played over 70% of the snaps in those games. He is 100% a starter. So don't count those games. And people are saying he missed those games when he played 70% of the snaps. It's a narrative and it's wrong. I just had to get that out there for everybody. Kyler has only missed.
When somebody wants to throw a negative narrative at you, they'll find something that they can use and try to misconstrue what the facts are. You just ignore it.
Happens a lot, man. And I was talking to someone about on Twitter about it yesterday. So that's when I looked up the stats. I went in and looked at his snap percentage, and I was like, these people are counting games that he played 70% of the snaps as someone who his games he missed. It's ridiculous. It's a narrative. Love Kyler Gordon. Someone asked how Grady Jarrett has looked in practice. I think Grady has looked good. Better than he looked at any point in time last year. That being said, we need him to stay healthy. That is key, honestly.
Yeah, and I thought that actually the last couple games and in the playoffs last year, he played the best.
He started to look better, yeah.
Yeah, that was his best play all year. He got hurt in camp, and I mentioned this once before. There was a picture of him, and it was standing in the Peyton Center with one of the other defensive linemen, and he had sweatpants on. And there was this, you could see there was this huge brace under the sweatpants that he was using for practice. He didn't have it on for games, but he wore it in practice. So you knew something, even though he might not be on the injury report, there was something that was bothering him.
Yep.
And his movements, you can see it in his movement skills. He just didn't have the explosiveness. What his game is made out of quickness and explosiveness.
Yep. Great question here by Shy Bears 73. He knows it's early, but what is the position group you are most surprised or impressed with so far in camp? Impressed for me is easy. It's the wide receiver room. Our wide receiver room has talent and depth. I think Jade Walker, Xavier Thomas, and who's the guy I'm missing? Khalif Raymond. Those 3 guys paired with Rome Odunze and Luther Burden, we have so much talent in that room. And then I'll also throw out the tight end room, which is not only the 2 guys we know about, Colston, Loveland, and Cole Kmet, but Sam Roush looks really good. And even the undrafted free agent, Hayden Large, I think he looks really good as a blocker as well. So I'm really, really hyped up about our tight end and wide receiver rooms.
Yeah, the offense, there was a clip on X today. Wani was on with Mully and Haw this morning, and he was at practice the other day, and he was saying how good the offense looked, and they're just far ahead of what they were last year. But he said not only that, but he was really impressed with the way Caleb was like running the show. And when a guy made a mistake, Caleb was jumping on the people who made mistakes, which is a sign of maturity of a quarterback. And it's funny because I saw an interview yesterday. It was for a Notre Dame website, but they were interviewing Tommy Rees, who had an afternoon off from the Falcons, so he had some free time to do this podcast. And the guy I did the podcast with was Golick, not the older Golick, the younger one, who actually was Tommy Rees's center at Notre Dame. So he was saying, even though he never coached C.J. Carr, who's the current quarterback, he was involved in recruiting him. He actually committed to Tommy, and when Tommy was the offensive coordinator. But he said, what made you sold on C.J. Carr? And his answer was really interesting. He said he was at our camp and he was only 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, and the way he's handling himself, and he goes, first of all, he was a first-class prick. And he goes, anybody who made a mistake, he jumped all over him and then would make corrections with them. It goes, he was like an 18-year-old at 15 being a leader. And he goes, right away, I knew then they were special to him.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's a lot of guys out there you could say that about. I did see a question here, though. I know something you talked about earlier in the year, something I don't want to happen, but my man AKW was asking if you think there's still a chance that Dexter could get traded. I'll quickly say that I've been impressed with Dex so far in camp. He's gotten into the backfield quite a few times. And if you look at Tyreek Stevenson's interception, I was on Twitter yesterday. It looks like Dex actually tipped that pass as well. He's been good at that in his career as well, getting his hands up.
You know who's had a bunch of picks? The guy who the designated whipping boy of the DBs, and that's Tyreek.
Yeah, man. And if you look at Tyreek in those one-on-ones, he's a guy who was locking people down. Hey, what's up, Samo? Good to see you, my man. Let's see. Oh, he actually asked a question about Kyler. My man Samo, he's often over there on the Barroom Network before. You might know Samo. He said, question, there's a lot of talk about Kyler Gordon being too often injured over the past year, but should the training staff have some accountability as well? They create the treatment plan. Quickly, Samo, I don't know if you heard it, but Ryan Poles kind of addressed that, and his comments had me question it a little bit because he said they had a great plan for Kyler, and right now, over the last 2 months, Kyler's been sticking to that plan, but he did kind of hint that he deviated from it a little bit earlier and maybe wasn't following the plan as closely as they wanted. That's why I believe they were a little frustrated, but Kyler is a guy who works hard. I think what happened there, because Kyler posted some videos himself this offseason, working his butt off. I think Kyler was working too hard this offseason, and he
probably got hurt again.
Might have re-injured it when they wanted him to take it easy. But Kyler's a guy who works his butt off, and he's doing everything he can to get back on the field. So I'm not blaming the training staff for that, and I'm not blaming Kyler either. I think it's just one of those things that wasn't a great look, but I think Kyler will be back soon. I'm hoping for it.
Okay, I want to comment on that because I know the process that you go through when somebody gets hurt. And you do this a couple times during the year, but you do it very thoroughly at the end of the season. Every single injury, we have a medical meeting, and every single injury is gone through. How did the injury happen? Why did it happen? Was it a football injury because he got caught up in a football play, like a knee or something like that? Or could it have been prevented? Some of it's nutrition, some of it and whatever. And so you go over all that stuff, and people who are on the outside like to point the fingers. Well, it's got to be the training staff. Well, if it was the training staff, do you honestly think they'd still be here? First of all, noticing or knowing the way that Ben Johnson works and Ben Johnson thinks. Yes. Do you think if he thought it was the training staff that those guys would still be here?
Yep. And I believe Evie is friends or talks to Kyler Gordon's mom a lot. I don't want to call that out, but she commented that Kyler, I seen her post this before on Twitter, I believe, that Kyler worked with a guy named David Alexander, a specialized trainer in Miami for 2 months this spring. I did see videos of Kyler working out, and it looked like he was in the best shape of his career. So I think Kyler is going to be back. I don't want to keep harping on. I don't want to keep talking about Kyler, but I do want to
Yeah,
answer
I
the
get the
question.
fans' frustration,
Yeah.
but unless they actually know, they're on the outside looking in, and they don't know. They're speculating.
Yep. For sure. But I think Kyler is going to be back. Bottom line on Kyler, he is a difference maker when he is on the field. Um, did you
He's
answer
one
the
of the
question
best
about?
two or three. He's one of the best two or three nickels in the league when healthy.
Yeah.
So when you got a guy with that much talent, you're going to give him every chance in the world to get himself healthy and get himself right.
Yep, for sure. And then a couple of questions here about Jordan Vandenberg. I see someone asked, "Is there any footage of him throwing the Vanilla Gorilla?" I don't
Yeah, there
believe
was,
so.
but it was too far away
Yeah.
to
And the
really get a
defensive
good
line
view.
was kind of like the defense was standing in the way. You could see it a little bit, but then I think there's a clip of what happened right afterwards. I saw he pushed him into the back. He pushed him like 4 yards into the backfield, right? And then he was trying to make a play on the running back, might have helped tackle the running back. I couldn't really see. But then he kind of body slammed him on the ground. And then immediately as it happened, the defense surrounded him, so you couldn't see anything because the defense was jumping around, patting him on the helmet, getting all hyped up. But another question about the same guy I saw here. Where did it go? Um, Someone asked, "What are our thoughts on Jordan Vandenberg?" I think we talked about him a little bit the early part of the show, but any thoughts on him or how
No,
much you like him?
just when you go to practice, you only can watch like one guy
Yeah,
each particular snap. And like we were saying at the beginning, the way they got that set up and where we were standing, we didn't have seats. There's times when you can't see a damn thing.
yeah. There's always time, but are you impressed with him? So I think
Oh
he's
yeah,
been
I
impressive. Yeah,
number one, I just going back to his college tape. I love his motor. I love his athleticism. There's people from the national media that have been writing him up. That means they're getting that information somewhere.
yeah.
Okay, so uh, but I'm not going to go out and say that means he's going to be a starter. No, I think he's going to be part of the rotation, and part of the rotation means he's going to play a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Let me see what was up next. And then I will let's talk about the running backs for a minute. With the deal, I know you saw it, but the running back market has been reset. Three guys signed contracts over the
Over
last
20
couple of
million a
days.
year.
Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and Jameer Gibbs. And that leads me, someone just asked a question here. If DeAndre Swift, because I believe DeAndre Swift is poised to have a big year. Ben Johnson believes in him. I think he can be a workhorse. He has 3 straight years of over almost 1,300 or more yards, total yards. If he has a great year this year, do you think the Bears extend him or try to get something done even early if they can get it done at a little bit of a
I
value?
think this is his contract year.
Yes, it is. It's his last
Okay,
year.
so and he's completed 2 full contracts. What year is this in the league for him? 7?
I'll look that up real. I think
Well, I'll
it's
do it. I'll look it real quick here. I can get it. DeAndre Swift is
he was drafted.
2020. So this is his 7th year.
Yep.
Um, I'll tell you, that's a tough one. I think part of it is you might do if you saw some of these contracts, like what's the Colts running back? They did a 2-year deal.
Yep.
Okay, so when you get a running back who's getting up in years, the thing what happens with running backs is when they go downhill, they don't go downhill gradually like an offensive lineman might or a defensive lineman. Yeah. They take the express elevator and fall off a cliff. If they start to lose their legs, they lose everything. And a guy could be 1,000-yard rusher one year and 200 the next because he just lost it. And so you don't want to especially for an older back, tie up that money. So I could see a 2-year deal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I can't say they'd give him $20 million like these guys are getting.
That's where I think the running back market could be the deciding factor on that. If we would have got a deal done 3 months ago, I think a 2-year extension would have made a lot of sense because I think him and Kyle Monungai complement each other well. He's 27 years old. You sign him for 2 more years. That would be this year's his age 27 season, and then it would take you to 28 and 29. So he would hit free agency again at age 30. Now, the problem with that is with the running back market being reset and these guys getting big money, does DeAndre Swift want to take his chances in free agency next year? He probably doesn't want to sign a value contract extension, especially if he has a big year this year. So that could be the deciding factor. And there are a lot of good running backs in next year's draft class. I've been looking at them. A lot of talent at the running back position next year. And
that's a position where a rookie can come in and play.
Yep.
and play quickly. So yeah,
and
you're right. There are a lot.
Be a bell cow because we have Kyle Monungai as well. They're going to be splitting reps with Monungai either way. So I'd say it's 50-50 is what I would say. Because
I'll guess at it this way, Swifty, is they will say, hey, look, we'll do a 2-year deal. This is what we'll do.
Yep.
And then his guy might say, yeah, but these guys got $22 million apiece.
Yeah,
we might take a chance in free agency, and Paul's going to go, be my guest.
Yeah, that's where I don't think Ryan Poles.
And that doesn't mean they won't get him back. That means you go see what your market is, and if we can, and there's ways you can find out. It's not like they're going to come back and say, well, so and so offered us $21 million. You can get verifiers, and that's allowed by the CBA. So it's not like they're going to lie to you. Well, they could try to lie, but it's not like they're going to get away with it. So
and he signed a 3-year, $24 million contract with us. So that is about $8 million a season. I think we would offer him a 2-year extension somewhere in that range. I think we would up it a little bit. He's been good, but I think 10 to 12 million a year would be the absolute max that Ryan Poles is trying. We don't know his money or whatever. It could be a little bit off.
Well, then next year, don't forget that a year from now, Caleb's going to get a new deal.
Yeah,
and that's going to have a lot to do with how anybody gets paid. And it is easy to replace a running back. Don't forget now, last year, 3/4 of the fans were going, Swift isn't even going to be on this team.
Yep, they wanted him cut, man.
Yeah, okay. Well,
I think he's better than those fans give him credit for.
Of course he is.
Him and Caleb, he's been with Caleb every year of his career so far. They have some continuity and chemistry back there, and I like Swift. But it really comes down to if he has a big season, his agent, like you said, might be like, we can get paid a lot more in free agency. Now, Swift could be like, look, I want to stay here. I like it here. But most of the time, guys go where they get the most money. And I don't think we're going to be the team that offers them the most money.
If it's $1 million, $1.5 million, you might stay where you're at. If it's $5 million, you're going to the next place.
Yep. Someone said they could trade Swift for pick. We're not trading Swift. He's going to be a big part of this offense. And I will comment. J2K says, even if we re-sign Swift, we could still draft a running back next year because it is a deep class. I'm not against that either because it is just like we did last year. We took it was a deep running back class in 2025, and it looks like, it could always change. We know if guys don't come out or they get hurt or whatever, but it looks like 2027 will be a deep running back class as well. You could take another guy on day 2 or day 3 and really keep churning guys out here. But I like Swift. I'm a big fan of him. So I would like
the running back I'm really interested in seeing how he plays. And I've been told that they might keep him in a light load phase for the first couple non-conference games as the kid from Missouri.
Oh, Ahmad Harden.
He is really good, but he's a dude who got shot. Yeah. And he's been cleared and he's ready to practice. But a friend of mine who's got real good connections at Mizzou said they may just keep the load light on him for the first couple games because they're easy games, maybe some FCS teams or whatever. and then let him go full go. But that's a really talented guy. But I still want to see. He did get shot. I think he got shot in the butt, if I'm not mistaken.
I've heard he's close to 100% and he's supposed to play. The college football season starts soon, and I'm gonna be
Four
watching that.
weeks. 4 weeks from tomorrow unless you're playing week 0. It's 4 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. But yeah, I think right now we'll end the Swift talk, but I believe it's somewhere around 50-50. There's a chance though they could work out an extension with him right now in training camp. If they did that and got him at a value, I think it would work. If he plays the whole season and has a big year, I think the odds of us bringing him back go way down because he's going to want to hit free agency at that point.
There's one interesting fact about him.
Mm-hmm.
When he started off in Detroit, he had durability issues and he missed time. Since he left Detroit, went to Philly and been here. So that's 4 years of his career.
Yep.
He's been I think he's missed like 2 games.
Yeah. Stats up right here. Let's see. His
durability has been superb.
Yeah, he missed 1 game for us last year and 1.5 games in Philly. So he's basically averaging 16 games a year the last 3 years. Whereas in Detroit, he was always kind of banged up. He played about 13 or 14 games a year, but he would only start a couple because he would be hurt and kind of come in as a change of pace guy. Even when they didn't have a big running back, all they had was Jamal Williams. He would still be the guy starting. So it was tough.
He had some, from what I understand, because I had talked to a Detroit writer, he had some soft tissue stuff. Yeah. And sometimes with young players, that is not unusual because they don't take sometimes just to learn how to do the proper nutrition. What people don't understand, and by the way, I'll advertise the show, a week from this coming Monday, Rusty Jones is going to be on with me and Aldo.
With you and Aldo on the Barroom Network.
That dude is one of the, for my money, if there's a Hall of Fame for strength coaches, he deserves to be the first guy in. But not only is he a great strength coach, as far as nutrition and stuff, he's like way up here. And I've known Rusty going back to the mid 80s when he was with Buffalo, because I was living in Buffalo. And he's always been recognized as one of the best, and he was light years ahead of other people. But the big thing that he was involved in Buffalo and here was the nutrition aspect, not just the strength, but the nutrition. And a lot of injuries are caused by poor nutrition. And a lot of fans don't realize that. And especially soft tissue injuries.
Yeah, and Rusty Jones, probably one of the best I've ever seen. I always thought we were lucky to have him. But yeah, he's one of those guys you got to give some props to. Love that you're going to be talking to him. I'm going to make sure I do not miss that show. Quickly, I got to do a little ad read here. I want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring the show. It's America's #1 sports picks app. My favorite thing about it is it's really easy to use. You can build for player picks. You just pick more or less on a few player stats and build your lineup. Lock it in. It's pretty easy to go. And they have a brand new user offer. Play just $5 to get 150 in lineups if you win your first one. Just use code HMA when you sign up. Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app now. Follow me at Swift_sports on the app, and you can see all my picks. But please, play responsibly. Don't be crazy out there. Someone asked if Kewan Lacey is related to Eddie Lacy. I do not believe so. Eddie Lacy.
I don't know the answer to that.
The big Packers back who kind of ate his way out of the NFL. I don't know if people remember him, but he was a guy who I don't know what he did. My man Samo asked about Javon Dexter, how he's doing in camp. I think he's played well. But like he said here, a lot of other guys are also getting first-team reps. Neville Gallimore is a guy I think people are highly underrating. His signing went under the radar when we signed him in free agency. Man, he is big. He's powerful. And I think he's a guy who's going to get a ton of reps this year. And Contavious Street as well, also getting some first-team reps. And I think you said it on the last show. He had his best year with Dennis Allen.
Octavia Street did, yeah. And Gallimore was the starting one technique for the Colts last year, and the Colts did not want to lose him. I know that for a fact. But they had so many other people they had to take care of that were more important, like a quarterback and a receiver, that they just didn't have the money to pay him.
Taylor too, yeah. They paid some guys this year, so yeah.
They paid Pierce, they paid the quarterback, they paid Taylor, and so you can't take care of everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Someone asked if you see us trading for Josh Sweat or Max Crosby.
No and no.
Probably not. I will say I did want to make one point about Crosby's contract, though. Initially, when I was looking into trading for him, one of my biggest red flags was how much he was getting paid. But the defensive end market has also kind of been reset, and Crosby is now kind of a value. He's making $35 million a year. Will Anderson is getting $50 million a year. Now, if you could get Crosby without trading 2 first-round picks, I'd look into it. But that really comes down to his market. I think it's highly unlikely at this point. But maybe
it's two things. It's giving up what they want, which Poles isn't going to do, and then it's the money. He has said it a few times. One thing that goes against the plan that we have created, and that's bringing in an older veteran, have to give up a lot of draft capital and pay them a lot of money. And so I don't see and the Sweat thing, the people from Arizona said he ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. I do think it's possible they trade him simply because I believe they're going to be really bad.
Well, he just got a contract, though, last year.
Yeah. But it is a new coaching staff. That he joined them because of Jonathan Gannon. And now, the only problem is Gannon's now in Green Bay. So if he had his choice, he might want to go.
The other thing is Sweat's not healthy right now.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't practiced yet.
Yep. J2K asks if you believe Ruben Hippolyte will make the 53-man roster.
I haven't paid attention to him, so I don't know.
I think he has a good chance simply because of his draft capital from last year and his speed. I think Dennis Allen really likes him. We also seen people are talking about a Rome Odunze trade. Rome isn't going anywhere, guys. He's one of Caleb's best friends, and polls took him in the top 10. No chance he's going anywhere.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
Where do people come up with this stuff? Why would you trade him? I mean, that's the thing. Why would you come up and give me one good reason why you would trade him?
They're playing Madden in their head, and they think you can trade a receiver for like an edge rusher or something. And we got too much talent at wide receiver. Let's flip that. And then suddenly, if you do that, here's what happens, guys. And this is why Ben Johnson.
First of all, you got all the dead money on. He's got a guaranteed contract because he was a first-round pick, top 10 first-round pick, which means that the dead money would be pretty darn serious. And the Bears don't have any money. I posted this just a little while ago before we started the show. The contract, at least as of an hour ago, that Wright just signed has not been posted yet on OTC or Spotrac.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I was going to do a breakdown on it, but it's not there yet.
Okay, which could be two things. The Bears haven't turned it in yet, because they don't get a hold of it until the Bears turn it into the league, and the Bears can turn it into the league anytime they want.
Yeah.
But part of it is, too, in order to do that contract, they had to do some adjusting to some other deals. Yeah. They only had $8 million. And you got to have.
I don't think, that's the problem. I don't think they had to pay him. They didn't have to give him any. They don't have to pay him this year because it's an extension.
Yeah, but you got to give him a signing bonus. That's all part of it.
But you can spread that out. It doesn't have to.
Right, but they only had $8 million in cap space, and so and you need $8 million. What they have right now in cap space throughout that contract, that gets you through the year, pays your practice squad, and gives you emergency money for anybody you got to sign once the season starts. So they can't, they're kind of stuck. And now when that contract comes out, we'll find out exactly what it is. It's not like his cap figure is going to stay the same this year as it was
See,
a
that's
week
where
ago.
it could be though, because listen, when Kyler Gordon signed his extension, they did it in a way where it did not kick in until after his rookie contract ended. His cap hit did not go up when they extended him. They could do the exact same thing with Darnell Wright.
Well,
So
we're
that
going
is
to find out. We're going to
they
find out,
can
but
do.
still, they only got $8 million.
Yeah, so I honestly, if I had to guess right now before we get to the part where we see the specifics on his contract, I don't think there's going to be a big cap hit for him this year, or maybe next year. But I think they're going to push back the biggest cap hit until 2028 when we have a ton of cap room. So I do think it's going to be backloaded a little bit. We'll see.
There's
But
not there's $93 million guaranteed, and that tells me alone that there's a pretty significant signing bonus, and part of
yeah.
that will hit in this year.
Yeah. Good question by D. Starin here. He said, "Do you think the Bears will be able to get any help from the last cut down? When teams go down to 53, it's possible we could look into adding a defensive back." I will say we have a lot more depth on the roster now, and we're going to be cutting guys that other teams sign. So there might not be any guys out there to help. If it comes down to it, I believe it would have to be a defensive back simply because our safety room is ravished with injuries right now.
Yeah,
And
they may have to go out and get another safety. I think it remains to be seen. Yesterday Ben was asked about Kobe's injury, and he said we're still doing work on that, which tells me right there that means he went for a second opinion.
yeah,
And the fact that he went for a second opinion, that kind of sits the wrong way with me. That means it might be a little more serious than we originally thought.
I hope.
But
Yeah.
where did Schefter get that initial information? Because when he was asked about it, did you see Ben kind of had a smile on his face? He goes, "I don't know where you got that."
Yeah. He said, "I don't know where they got," and everyone's like, "Oh, look, Shefty made it up." Listen, Shefty knows things, and Ben Johnson knows where we got it from. He knows that Shefty said that. That's why he was smirking. So that's not, to me. It was like he knows.
But
He
who
just
did
doesn't.
Shefty get it from? Did Shefty get it from the agent? And in that case, he had it out within an hour of the injury,
He had
hour
it
and a half of the injury. So did that come from the agent or did it come from the Bears? And that's the only
Not
thing.
the Bears, I will say.
Shefty has gotten some stuff from the Bears. I'll say that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. Okay.
But it just depends. But just when he was holding off and he said we're still looking into some things on that, could it mean a minor surgery? Maybe. I don't know. And I think they're just trying to, he said that when he gets the final information, he'll let us know. So we're not going to know that before Monday.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's the next time he's going to talk.
That.
They're off today. They practice tomorrow and Sunday. DA isn't here tomorrow for the practice.
Yeah, he's going to be at Drew Brees' Hall of Fame induction. I do have to comment. There was someone in the comments said, "Why did we rush and re-sign Darnell Wright and overpay him?" Darnell is one of the best right tackles in the league, if not the best. I think it was a perfect time to extend him, and I think he's going to evolve into one of the best tackles in football. He is already a second-team All-Pro. I love Darnell Wright. I think you had to extend him. He is the heart and soul of our offensive line. So I don't understand that question.
He was getting next day. I already had picked up his
fifth-year
option. His whole contract, the remainder of this year and all of next year is fully guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So all the fifth-year option does was create a starting point for the new contract. And then when I saw the deal O'Neal got from Minnesota, which was around $24 million a year.
He's way better.
Yeah, and then somebody put it out that that's a good point for Wright's contract, and I just said, "No, you're going to get a lot more than that." I thought it was going to be 25 to 26. So
Yeah.
25, but then these guys, I mean, the agents aren't stupid too. They know the cap's going up.
Yeah.
And then Olin said it perfect. 3 years from now, they're going to say they got him cheap.
That's exactly how I feel. Anyone who says we're overpaying Darnell Wright doesn't understand how much tackles get paid. And I think in 3 years, like you said, his contract's going to get cheap, look really cheap compared to what some other tackles are get. That's the reason they got it done early. Honestly, it's not really. Could you have waited till next year, even the year
No,
after?
then he's a free agent. He's got the leverage then.
Yeah, you could have franchise tag him, but at that point,
well, they picked up the 5th-year They picked up the 5th-year option,
yeah,
so he
they
was
got
going to
next
be
year.
here.
So he was going to be here next year anyway, but at 19 million. It's curious. I'm curious to see if that 5th-year option got tore up or if they just added a bunch of bonus money on that next year. Because honestly, we've only seen one extension of a guy that Ryan Poles drafted. That was Kyler Gordon. Only draft pick that's been extended. And this is the first round pick. Look at this, guys. Darnell Wright is the first Bears first round pick that has earned a second contract with the team since Kyle Fuller. You're talking about almost back when Greg was with the Bears. That's how
Kyle
far
Fuller
back
it was a 2013 draft. And I'll tell you,
yeah.
they got.
When was your last year
there? My last year there was 10.
Yeah, so 3 years after Greg left, that was the last time
I was doing the draft on the score there. So there was Patrick Manley, Hub Arkish, myself, and Dan Pompey. And so they're in the draft, and it's getting up near the Bears pick, and Aaron Donald's still there.
I knew, away, man.
Yeah, I knew that Phil really loved Aaron Donald, and his agent is a good friend of mine. His guy he's a Buffalo guy who I've known for years and years, went to the University of Buffalo. So I text him and I go, looks like the Bears are getting him. He goes, I got a text back right away. Nope, Rams are taking him right here.
Oh, man.
So
that's tough, man. That's tough. I hate to see it. Someone did comment on the Odunze trade talk, and I get this perspective. They said eventually they don't think we'll be able to pay Caleb, Rome, Luther Burden, and Loveland. The problem is that's 3 to 4 years out right now. Rome is going into year 3 of his contract. He's got all of this year, 2026, all of next year, 2027, and then he's a first-round pick, so you can pick up that 5th-year option and have him for 2028 as well. Same thing with Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, except Luther doesn't have the 5th-year option.
Right.
You don't have to worry about paying those guys till 2029. You're not trading these guys in 2026 when the chemistry they have, and this is something I was talking about the other day with a buddy of mine, is one of the reasons why we traded DJ Moore. And I love DJ, but I think there's something they're doing there. These guys are all building chemistry together. Luther Burden and Colston Loveland talked about it. This offseason, Caleb invited them over to his house about 10 times. These guys would go out on the practice field, practice for hours and hours. Then they would go to the mall. They would go out to a show or a sports game somewhere, and then they would go back to Caleb's house, watch movies, and stay the night there. These guys all hung out together, and if you look at their ages, Colston Loveland, 22, Luther Burden, 22, Caleb Williams, 24, Rome Odunze, 24. These guys are all the same age. Jade Walker as well. He was out there as well. Now Xavier Thomas. These guys are all the same age.
And DJ's 29 or 30. And
he's married with 2 kids. He's not going down to SoCal to hang out with Caleb and bond and work in the off season. So it's something that I think trading DJ was best for him and the team. We got the 2nd round pick. We got guys that are bonding with Caleb. And now DJ also, another point to it, I think DJ is better than what he was used for last year. He's not a 600-yard a season receiver.
No, he's DJ, I got to tell you,
1,200 yards.
He's going to have a 100-catch season. He has been tearing it up in Buffalo.
Yeah,
I think. And you know, it's funny because right after they got him, I told some friends of mine in Buffalo and some media guys, they go, "You guys just stole him." He goes, "We gave a 2nd round for him." I said, "You stole him." I said, come in November, you're going to be glad you only gave up a second.
Yeah.
And I said, he will have 100 catches, well over 1,000 yards. He will do for that offense what Stephon Diggs did, and he can run better than Stephon Diggs. Better after the catch, got more speed. And he's been camp's only, they've been in camp as long as we have. He's been tearing it up. And the guy that Josh throws to all the time, DJ Moore.
He's going to be by far their number one target. And barring injury, knock on wood, DJ is going to put up 1,200 yards down there.
He's going to have his career year. He's going to have an absolute career year.
And Joe Brady loves him too. They worked together in Carolina before.
Yep.
But great comment by J2K, and this is exactly my point. We have 3 years at least of Caleb Williams, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, and Colston Loveland all being together, and you're going to see who earns the contract extension over that time. Is there a chance one of them signs a value deal, or maybe even Caleb takes less to maybe keep his buddy Rome in town? It could happen. Don't rule it out. We'll see what happens. But the next 3 years, these guys are all staying in Chicago. No reason to talk about trading them because I don't think it's happening. No. I think it's just nonsense. They're all good buddies. They're the heart and soul.
I don't understand why you go out and you try to get good players. So when you get good players, you got crazy fans that go, "Oh, we got to trade him and we got to trade him."
I don't get it.
The idea is collect good players, not give them away.
Yep. We're definitely picking up Rome's 5th-year option. I don't think that's even a question. That'll be, what is it? This is year 3, 2020.
They have to pick it up next year.
It's 2028.
By May 1st. They got to pick it up by May 1st.
All these other guys' contracts are gone. We have $260 million in cap space that year. I would bet Greg's pension on. No, I'm joking, Greg. We're picking up Rome's 5th-year option. All right, just book it, put a check mark in it, bookmark this. I guarantee we're picking it up, even if he doesn't have a great season. Ryan Poles believes in this guy. He's a great friend of Caleb Williams. I don't think he's guaranteed to get a second contract, but that
he looked pretty damn good. He looked pretty good in camp. No, people think that that comment he made during OTAs, but this is the new normal. Mm-hmm. And then he corrected it last week and when he had his little presser. And then you just watch some clips of what he's done in camp so far. He's fine.
Yeah, I think Rome is 100%. Rome is I think the biggest story is who's going to be the number one receiver. And I don't think there's a legit answer between him.
I'll tell you who it's going to be. His name is Colston Loveland.
I think Luther, I think all three of them, though. I'm really high on Luther. I'm really high on Rome. I think all three of those guys, there's a potential that over the next 3 years, one of these years, all three of those guys could go for 1,000 yards if they could stay healthy. And that would be incredible. I love them. I love our offense, the foundation, having Ben Johnson and Caleb here with them. It's just exciting to me. We got 3 years of these guys blowing up for real. But don't underestimate Rome or Luther.
No, you can't. Like I say, it makes it, the group of guys they have now on offense makes it very, very difficult on a defense to pick who you're going to cover.
Yep. And great comment by El Diabloni here. He says it's possible here we could actually extend Rome for cheaper than that 5th-year option is. If Rome doesn't have a big year this year, maybe he takes a little discount and signs a long-term extension to stay here and get paid again when he's like 27 or 28, which is still 4 years away. So we'll see.
Who knows? I mean,
yeah,
the agents are going to want the money.
They do.
But what people don't realize, like that, you gave that $260 million figure for cap in 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's just an estimated cap, and really it could be well over 300. And that's just players under contract, because the cap is going to go up. A lot of it's gambling money, and it's other money that comes in to the league and gets spread out, amongst all 32 teams. the cap ain't going down now. It's just going to keep going up and up and up, and the player salaries are going to go up and up and up. So, the deal. I think the deal Caleb's going to get is going to be north of 50 million
Yeah,
a year from now.
it probably will be. And it's what are the other guys going to get? It's a big question, but it's something we don't have to worry about this year. And you don't trade guys away with 3 years left on their rookie contract. That is not how you save money. You let those guys. We're going to be in a position, I believe, 3 years from now, where you can let guys walk in free agency and recoup some comp picks because this team is going to continue getting better.
The
And
comp
you
picks
want,
that you didn't get for losing a general manager.
yeah, we need those back. And if someone's gone, it's going to be this here. Crimson King says they're predicting Dexter could get 25 million a year. Look, if that happens, there's no chance he's back next year. I'm sorry, I love Big Dex, but no chance he's coming back at 25.
He hadn't
million
done
a year
anything
right
to say 25 million a year.
now. Yeah, but they do get overpaid in free agency. You know how it goes.
Oh, no question. And that's why if they become free agents, you want them to get big money.
Yeah.
I thought that Wright might get some money. Heck, with all the interceptions he had last year, he got a 1-year deal.
I thought Wright or Brisker or Byard, one of those guys was going to get a big
They all
deal.
got 1-year deals.
They all got 1-year value contracts, which hurt our chance at comp picks next
I
year.
think they're still going to get a 7th round pick.
Yeah,
Because some of those guys, all those guys gotta play. But
yeah.
there's
Seven
enough
just doesn't
money.
do much for me, you know.
I hear you, but it goes against what they signed, and they signed some guys too. But the only guys that got decent money were Kobe and one other guy, and nobody broke the bank.
Yep.
But I think they get one comp, probably a 7, and that's going to be it. But hey, it's better than nothing.
In the words of Stacey King, because gotta shout out Stacey King, love the man. Samo says Colston Loveland is too big, too strong, too fast. A phrase he used on Derrick Rose, but yeah, Loveland is a special player, and that's one thing I think people are forgetting here. Tight ends don't get as much money. Loveland might deserve wide receiver money, but he's going to get paid tight end money, and we can get a little value there keeping Colston, I believe. But
that's why you see tight ends get franchised, because the franchise tag isn't bad on a tight end.
Yep. Someone said we don't get comp picks. The NFL's against us in that one. Now, hopefully, we can turn that around and start getting some soon. Even though we didn't get any for Ian Cunning. I will ask you: did you see that? Matt Ryan out there throwing passes at training camp.
Oh, and then Ian's done all the renegotiation of contracts, re-signed all these guys.
He did the draft, he did free agency, and now he did Bijan.
They were going strictly on the language of the contract, and the language of the contract said Matt Ryan is the chief football executive, for lack of a better word.
Yeah,
but it was a screw up. It was a screw up by Atlanta. It was a screw up by the league. Ian got the job he wanted. He got the power that he wanted. Got the money that he wanted. The Bears got screwed. You're never going to see him come back, and they could show some favoritism for the Bears on something, but I doubt it. So it is what it is. That train's already left the station. So it's not going to come back and help you next year.
For sure. And someone said we do have all that money in 2028, but we don't have any guards or cornerbacks or wide receivers under contract. That's not true. Luther Burden and Rome Odunze are still under their rookie contracts. And I believe, does Jonah Jackson's deal? I'd have to look that up. But
Jonah Jackson did a 3-year deal last year, so next year will be his.
Yeah, so he's not
last year. Tooney's last year is next year, I believe. Let me look up Tooney.
But my counterpoint to that is why we don't have some of those guys under contract. Once we get to 2028, we have 0 dead cap hits. We have no void years, where most teams have those written in already. The Bears have ultimate cap flexibility going forward until they re-sign Caleb, and then it'll kind of stress us a little bit, and we'll have to get creative there depending on how that's written. But Bears have a ton of flexibility to sign these guys. I love it.
Okay, I'm going to have Tooney's contract in a second here. 34 years old. He don't look it. This is the last year of his deal. No, next year is the last year of his deal. 27. Yeah. So he's got a cap number next year of same as this year, 21.5.
Yeah. Well, I love it. Greg, we're a little bit over, man. I love having you on. I think it's a great time. Obviously, people have a lot of questions. Training camp is hitting hard. Next week, we have a preseason game. Did you want to come back again next week, or?
We can play it by ear.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Oh. The day before game. Don't forget the game a week from tomorrow is at noon. Noon Central.
Noon on Saturday, and then we have like a
then the next two are night games. They're all Saturday games, but they're at night, and they'll be.
Like, let me double check real quick. Oh no, it is 7 and 6. Okay, yeah. I thought one of them was at like 3 or something, but maybe not. Yep. Appreciate everybody. Hit the like button, Greg. Always an honor to have
one
you on.
One might be nationally televised. Let me.
Let's see. Do they have one this national NFL preseason? It doesn't say on here. Full schedule.
No, it doesn't say. NFL Network, it says for the 29th.
Oh, yeah, national. Wait, let me see. Yeah, it is.
The Tennessee game is NFL Network, but it doesn't. I thought they had one game that was going to be played nationally on, CBS or Fox or somebody, but I may be wrong.
It says the Browns and Titans game are both on NFL Network, though. So, hey, 2 out of the 3 preseason games on NFL
right
Network.
Now, I'll tell you where I live right now, we don't have the NFL Network because Xfinity has not made a deal with ESPN. And May 1st, they lost. We haven't had the NFL Network since May 1st.
Yeah.
I send a tweet in about every 3 days.
We know how that goes, though. Usually they work those out right before the season starts.
I know, but with preseason games, the season starts next week.
Yeah,
because you can get a lot of those. I mean, I got the NFL Total Access, so I can get the games the next day and watch the shortened version and stuff. We're watching all 22, but there's games I want to see while they're being played.
Yeah, for sure. Well, bear down, everyone. Greg, always an honor to have you, man. It was awesome to see you at camp this week as well. We'll see you again soon, my man.
See you later. See you, everybody.
Bear down, guys. Make sure you hit that like button.